Hold your judgment until you know the whole story. Stay with us until the very last moment. If these stories leave you breathless, tap like and subscribe to Unveil X. His fingers were rougher than I imagined, broad palms and thick knuckles, nothing like the softness my husband's once offered. Back when we still sought each other in the dark, this boy, now a man, possessed hands that gripped tightly, as if he had learned never to let go of what mattered. In that instant, I felt the weight of not wanting to fall. In my kitchen, we stood too close, the air thick with unspoken tension. The vent above the stove rattled ominously once more, and I found myself pleading with him to check it out. He was there, assisting my husband with the heavy lifting, moving furniture into storage. Yet, against all odds, he remained alone. "Do you mind if I take a look now?" he asked, shaking off the drywall dust clinging to his jeans. His voice flowed like warm molasses, rich with a southern lilt, calm and respectful, a rare politeness that feels almost lost in today's world. I agreed. I blurted it out in a rush. The vent cover rattled, shattering the stillness. He stood on the step stool, arms reaching high, his shirt riding up just enough to hint at the subtle V of his stomach disappearing into his jeans. I regret ever glancing back. I truly did. I convinced myself it was nothing to worry about. I convinced myself it was mere curiosity. It was only when he descended that I truly saw it. His gaze pierced through me, a moment stretched beyond its limit. Perfectly acceptable. It was beyond sleazy. It was something far darker. It was a kindness that pierced through the silence. That shattered me like nothing else ever could. I was 43 years old. Years have passed, and my husband no longer sees me. Initially, it was barely noticeable. Enough with the flattery, then let there be silence. And finally, the touch faded away. I had immersed myself in the roles of mother, wife, and household manager. I donned cozy sweaters and a touch of makeup. I wore my hair in a neat shoulder-length bob, a choice driven by practicality. That was his favorite. Yet this boy man, this courteous intruder, gazed at me as if I were a revelation waiting to be discovered. Daniel, a name that echoed with unspoken stories. At 28, he stood as my daughter's fiancé. I should have told him to go. I offered him coffee instead. His smile flickered, a brief spark in the shadows. Just a few sips and everything changes. I held back my answer, yet I filled 2 mugs to the brim. The silence hung heavy between us, like the way humid air wraps around the skin, suffocating yet intimate. It was never about the words we exchanged. It was all that mattered. The soft, deliberate sound of his sipping echoed in the silence. The sharp sound of ceramic striking the counter echoed in the silence. The sharp intake of his breath as he moved, drawing nearer. My throat constricted. "Are you all right?" he asked, concern etched on his face. I nodded, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. Yet the reality was it had been ages since anyone had cared to ask me that. His eyes burned a vivid green, not a vibrant, arrogant green, but the gentle, earthy kind that whispers of life. His smile made the corners crinkle ever so slightly. He lacked the polished beauty that younger men often possess. No, Daniel's face held a profound intensity. A boy transformed into a man, silently bearing the weight of his journey. He called her ma'am and always insisted on carrying her groceries, yet that wasn't the force that shattered me. He held my gaze, unyielding, as if daring me to look away. The way his voice lingered in the shadows as we spoke, it felt as if we shared a secret, a silent understanding that bound us together. I convinced myself that the attention was what I craved, yet it was so much more. His presence ignited a warmth within me that I couldn't ignore. Not younger, but alive. My skin recalled the sensation of being desired, as if I were nothing more than a tool. I was wanted. He stretched out, fingers brushing against me as he grabbed the sugar. His chest grazed my shoulder, sending a jolt through me. I should have acted. Yet I held back. He didn't either. A full second hung in the air. 2, perhaps even more. His breath brushed against my neck, sending shivers down my spine. Softly whispering, like the gentle hiss of the kettle simmering behind us. He leaned in close and whispered, "I'm sorry," yet his hand lingered on the counter, right next to me. I kept my gaze down. If I did, there would be no turning back. Nothing struck fear in my heart quite like that. I couldn't bear the thought of him stopping. His hand lingered on the counter, a silent testament to the moment. Mine was perilously near. Silence hangs heavy, overly calculated. I stood still. He didn't either. The silence thickened, pressing down on us. The refrigerator's gentle hum fills the silence. The soft, relentless ticking of the wall clock echoed in the silence. The distant cries of seagulls echo in the air. Everything around me faded into mere background noise, overshadowed by an electric pulse thrumming just beneath my skin. "Mrs. Ellen," he whispered, his voice laced with concern. In his mouth, my name transformed into something unrecognizable. Nearly there, but not quite. It felt like a title I had lost the right to hold. I despised the depth of my longing for him to utter those words once more. "Call me Robert," I urged. It was the moment everything began to unravel, more than a mere label. It was liberation. I gazed at him then, so near. So near. Our faces were mere inches apart. Delicate freckles dance across defined cheekbones. A jaw that trembled with anxiety. His lips parted, a moment suspended, as if words hung on the edge of his breath, yet silence prevailed. His gaze was locked onto me, but mine stayed right there. A force drew us in, unspoken yet undeniable. A weighty force, unavoidable and profound. I convinced myself it was just a trial of control, driven by logic. I fell short. He stretched his hand upward. Gradually, softly, as I tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. A rush of vulnerability washed over me. His fingertips brushed against my cheek, igniting a spark that sent shivers down my spine. I gasped. "I shouldn't be here," he whispered, his voice trembling with urgency. I nodded, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Yet I never told him to go. He recoiled. Just ahead. Just enough to shatter the connection between us. "I'm leaving now. Thanks for the coffee." I should have released him. It was my moment to reclaim it all. But then I spoke the words. "Hold on." He turned, a storm brewing in his eyes. His fingers brushed the doorknob, a moment teetering on the edge of decision. I forced down the tightness in my throat. It feels like an eternity since anyone truly noticed my presence. The words lingered, heavy and suffocating. His expression shifted dramatically. His eyes, once sharp, now held a gentle warmth. His brow arched, revealing a depth of understanding far beyond his years. "I see you," he whispered, his voice trembling with unspoken truths, and a part of me shattered. Or perhaps it finally fell back into place. I approached him, heart racing, each step pierced like a dagger of treachery. About my marriage. About my daughter, the version of myself I've shielded for so long. Yet my body betrayed my guilt. As I approached him, my hands remained still. I just glanced. A single piercing gaze. Holding on to every detail. Those lashes. His breath hitched. His chest rose and fell, a rhythm of life and loss. He carried the subtle scent of sawdust mingled with a crisp freshness. As delicate as soap, as enduring as linen. I craved that scent against my skin. He raised his hand once more. "Take your time this time." It lingered in the air. Just before his fingers met my skin, his fingers grazed the edge of my jaw, sending a shiver down my spine. It brushed against my neck, sending shivers down my spine. It lingered at the hollow just above my collarbone. "You're trembling," he murmured. "I understand. I can't bear the thought of causing you pain." "You can't." My words quaked. In that moment his lips met mine, gentle, uncertain, as if it were a question lingering in the air. My lips trembled open. I opened the door for him. I opened myself to it all. His hands cupped my face, Fingers brushed softly against my skin. He discovered his heart. Heat radiated beneath his shirt. Calm. Powerful. I leaned in closer. The kiss intensified. My knees buckled. He held me firm at the waist. Free and unbound. Uplifting. He exuded a quiet tenderness that enveloped everything around him. Until it shattered. He pinned me gently against the door. His lips traced a path to my neck. His breath seared the air. His voice was a whisper, heavy with unspoken weight. I'm not sure I can hold back. I'm uncertain about wanting you to. Our bodies whispered truths that our lips dared not speak. His hands gripped my waist, igniting a fire within me. Crossed my hip. My breath caught in my throat. The sensation was foreign, electrifying, and overwhelming. I felt both delicate and ablaze all at once. We barely moved at all, just out of reach. It was a fleeting moment, but it pierced through me, revealing his emotions in a way that lingered long after. His size was overwhelming. His fingers tightened as my breath hitched. My hands trembled as they traced his form. The clothes remained untouched, mostly. Yet it was irrelevant. His movements against me were electric, igniting a fire within that I couldn't ignore. The weight of him pressing against me. The clash of denim against bare skin. Consumed me. His sighs took my breath away. He stood still, heart pounding. I stood still, heart racing. We both felt it. This moment rattled you. You are never truly alone. Hit like if your heart raced too. Don't forget to subscribe. More awaits just beyond the horizon. In that moment I spoke the words. Once more. His gaze pierced through me, not seeking permission but rather confirmation. In my gaze he found the truth. And so he did. Once more. Once more. And all I believed about boundaries shattered. Loyalty and the essence of my being. Everything shattered. This was something deeper. It was a gnawing hunger. Hunger gnaws at the soul. He nourished me as if my very life depended on it. The sounds whispered gently. But that's it. My breath catches. His whisper lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. The faint creak of wood beneath us, a haunting reminder of our presence. I can't recall how long we lingered in that moment. In the end I pulled away. I pressed my lips together. His gaze tracked the movement, filled with an unspoken urgency. Silence enveloped us. Yet the weight of those words lingered in the air. Inhale, in the stillness. Connected. In that instant I realized there was no turning back. Not a single kiss. Far from a brush. My body swayed, haunted by the sound of his name that night. Daniel. The beginning wasn't in the kitchen. It began ages ago, in the stillness. Evenings blurred together as I cooked dinner while my husband lost himself in his phone. Grunts that fell flat, echoing in silence. Weekends drift by in lonely silence, each in our own room. There I am, surrounded by the hum of the machines, lost in thought. Him standing alone on the patio. We both acted as if the distance wasn't creeping in, suffocating us like mold in the shadows. I once inquired about the details of his day. He would always say, same as always. In the end I ceased my inquiries. I'm Robert. I am 43 years old. After 21 years of marriage, the journey has been anything but ordinary. We have a daughter, Lauren, at just 23. Her world is a whirlwind of dreams and struggles. Intelligent, stunning, relentless. All that I was before I transformed. Unseen, feeling invisible. You're not the only one. This kind of story resonates deeply. Join us at Unveil X, like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling content. When she announced her engagement, a smile crossed my face. I truly meant it. And then everything changed when I met Daniel. One Saturday, she invited him for dinner. He showed deep respect. Unyielding, real, only, conscious of souls. In the vastness of space. A man who meets your gaze, absorbing your words as if they carry the world's heaviest truths. That night, after dessert, he lingered to assist me with the dishes. My husband left to catch the game. Lauren was lost in a FaceTime call with a friend upstairs. It was only Daniel and me, alone in the silence. Balancing plates. Wiping away the remnants of yesterday. Wiping the silverware. Each piece gleams with untold stories. "You raised her right," he said, wiping the glass with a steady hand. "She lifted herself up." I responded instinctively. His smile flickered, a brief spark of warmth in the shadows. "No, she's a reflection of you." I burst into laughter. Then silence enveloped me. It had been years since anyone had spoken to me like that. I had lost touch with the warmth of belonging to something truly good. Lauren reached out to Daniel, her voice laced with urgency, asking for his help to move her belongings into the garage. As she sifted through the boxes, anticipation and anxiety intertwined, each item a memory waiting to be uncovered before their new life began. He arrived by himself. I handed him the lemonade. He agreed, but first inquired if I desired company outside. We huddled on the back steps, eyes fixed on the sun as it bled into the sky. He inquired about the roses. I confided in him about my past love for gardening, but now my hands ache with every thought of it. He promised to help trim them the next time he visited. He spoke it with such ease, as if it had been our choice all along. And that's where it all began. Little acts of kindness. Brief instances. The scent of grass clung to his shirt. His voice lingered, always asking, "Need help with that?" Even when I couldn't. He never held his phone, not once. His gaze never wavered as we exchanged words. It never slipped by me. Never let me go. And I began to anticipate it. For him always. For the sound of the doorbell. For the echo of his footsteps on the back deck. For the way his laughter echoed when he said Lauren always burned the rice. It was not yet the moment of release. It was a fierce warmth, chilled to the bone. My husband had become a stranger, lost in his own indifference. It had been months since we last shared a bed. We pointed fingers at his snoring. Yet it was truly distance that separated us. He brushed against me as if I were merely an object, kissed me with a familiarity that cut deep. I lay awake, the television's soft murmur seeping through the walls, consumed by the aching question of what it would feel like if someone reached for me. Only once, no strings attached. Daniel began to show up more frequently. To save, just a quick check-in. To mend a hinge. Hold the weight of a box. Empty the gutter. Every time we spoke. With every moment, the weight of guilt pressed heavier on my heart. Not for what transpired. For what was not, yet held the promise of being. There were moments that lingered, heavy with unspoken weight. Little ones. He brushed my hand as he reached for a glass. I'd find myself lost in laughter over a joke, unable to pull away from its grip. He was watching, his gaze fixed as I tucked my hair behind my ear. His gaze held for a heartbeat too long. I could have prevented it, yet I held back. Felt strangely safe. It was life itself. My days were consumed by endless errands, patterns of life, and a husband who viewed me as just another fixture in the home, not as a living, breathing individual. But when Daniel walked in, I felt the heat of my own skin again. That my body might feel warmth. How my heart could race, not out of fear, not from fear, yet from desire. I began to wear lipstick once more. Just in case, I hold my breath, waiting for the unexpected to unfold. Embraced the beauty of earrings. I even spritzed the perfume I hadn't dared to touch since our 10th anniversary. The bottle teetered on the edge of fullness. And I loathed the way it thrilled me to be seen. I thought I had moved on from that. I was a wife bound by love and expectation. A mother fierce and unwavering. Some mornings I caught myself staring out the window, hoping, just hoping, that he might show up unexpectedly. He did it once. He claimed he was merely passing through. He thought he might reach out. We found ourselves on the front steps, lost in conversation for an hour. He shared the haunting tales of his childhood. He lost his mother too soon. He realized how few safe women he had in his life. Lauren anchored him in a way he never expected. His gaze pierced through me as he spoke those words. I felt intertwined with that foundation. Words escaped me. I remained silent. Yet I experienced it all. I never intended for it to unfold this way. I intended to show respect. Warm and inviting, only a mother-in-law to be. Welcoming with open arms. Yet it transformed into something entirely different. One afternoon, Daniel lingered, determined to mend the loose cabinet hinge in the pantry. I lingered close by, folding dish towels, each crease a reminder of the warmth shared in quiet moments. I couldn't help but steal glances, this time not by his hands, yet behind him, the way his shirt clung to him, just enough to hint at the tension beneath. The quiet scrape of the screwdriver sent shivers down my spine. The soft, haunting melody he murmured to himself. He stood just inches apart. Yet, an unsettling gaze lingered on me. Even with his back turned, the weight of unspoken words hung in the air. He whispered, "Just about finished." "Go ahead," I said, more silent than I intended. In that moment he turned. He gazed at me as if my voice revealed a hidden truth. I had no idea it existed. Heat rushed to my cheeks. A deep warmth surged through me, a sensation I hadn't experienced in years. "Is everything all right?" he inquired. I nodded, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Yet a change had stirred within me. On that very night, I stood before the mirror, time slipping away, lost in my own reflection. Examined the creases at the edges of my gaze, the gentle curves at my waist. I released my hair from its confines, allowing it to cascade around my shoulders. I had become a shadow of my former self. Yet I was very much alive. And Daniel, he reminded me that I too might still be remembered. Time slipped away. Just a week. Daniel and Lauren immersed themselves in the whirlwind of wedding planning. With each new detail she revealed, the tension thickened. I smiled, extending my hand to help. Yet within me, chaos reigned. My heart swelled with pride for her without a doubt. Yet I sensed I was in a room, gradually stripped of its furniture. Every piece defines who I am. Shoved into darkness. Beloved partner. Mom. Guardian. What remained? Only Robert. It had been years since I was last there. Daniel arrived unexpectedly on a Tuesday. He mentioned he had left Lauren at her dress fitting. There was a moment before work began. "Is something broken that needs mending?" he inquired. "Not at all, but feel free to take a seat if you wish." We lingered on the porch, the weight of silence heavy between us. The morning was deceptively calm. I sipped my coffee, feeling its warmth seep into my soul. He possessed water. The breeze pulled at my skirt, a whisper of urgency in the air. And I caught his gaze. Only once. He averted his gaze in an instant, overwhelmed by shame. Yet that moment lingered on. It lingered in the air. Learned. I crossed my legs, a small gesture that held a world of tension. Gradually, he swallowed hard. "Your appearance today radiates a sense of calm and rejuvenation. Awake." He didn't mean that word at all. I witnessed it in his gaze. He meant to shine. He intended gentle. He desired. I said it too. I held his gaze just a heartbeat longer than necessary. We stood frozen, caught in a moment that felt eternal. Yet, a stirring within me ignited. As the night unfolded, when I revealed that Daniel had come by, my heart raced. He hardly flinched. Only a nod. "He's resourceful, brave soul." That was everything. Not a single look in my direction. He never inquired about our conversation, or the duration of his stay. I had a million words at my disposal. When I handed Daniel the cup, his fingers brushed against my wrist. His knee grazed mine beneath the patio table, and he held it there, unflinching. I left it untouched as well, yet there was no room for it. No space left in a marriage that had turned purely mechanical and devoid of emotion. I began to rise with the dawn, to prepare the house for Daniel's possible visit, to make it feel inviting. I slipped into fitted sweaters once more, my lips kissed with vibrant hue. Nothing stands out. Silence reigns, just enough to sense the anticipation of being truly noticed. He always saw it. Each time, at times it was a whisper of praise that lingered in the air. You wear that color beautifully. At times it was merely the intensity of his gaze lingering on me, stretching a moment into eternity. He stood frozen, paralyzed by the weight of his own indecision. Always stayed within the bounds. Yet the line continued to shift. Each departure pierced my heart. The pain lingers. A haunting promise lingered, suspended in the space that separated us. He listened to me in a way that felt overflowing. Here, he inquired about my garden, books that have captured my heart. Did I embrace the rain? It had been decades since any man had dared to ask me that. One day, I revealed to him that I once danced. His smile held a world of unspoken truths. You still hold yourself as if you can, he said. That night, I unearthed my old slippers from the depths of my closet. Simply to embrace them. Simply a reminder. Our tension simmered quietly, yet it was palpable. Silence hung heavy, a crushing weight of despair. It was in the way I looked away when he spoke softly to me. He stood a fraction too close as he passed me the tool. It lingered in the silence, a truth we both feared to acknowledge. Yet there was no denial. It grew, a quiet storm brewing beneath the surface. Like water boiling in a pot. It simmers beneath the surface unnoticed, until the moment it erupts. One afternoon, a spoon slipped from my grasp and clattered to the floor near the sink. I crouched low, my heart racing as I reached for it. As I stood up, Daniel was right there watching, so near. Silence hangs heavy. I faced him. He stood frozen. Our faces hovered just inches apart. Each freckle on his cheek caught my eye. A constellation of moments etched in time. The barely visible scar by his temple. His throat tightened as he swallowed. A silent struggle etched across his face. He never laid a finger on me. In that instant, I realized I wouldn't stand in his way if he chose to go. It filled me with dread. It had been more than 10 years since I last felt that way. In the days that followed our near encounter, I did everything to steer clear of him. I told Lauren I was busy when she asked if he could come by to help with the new bookshelf. I lay still, feigning sleep as she and Daniel arrived for dinner. I dimmed the lights ahead of time. Moved with a heavy heart. Opted for simpler attire once more. Failed. The pain lingered on. It thrums beneath my skin, a constant haunting pulse. Every room he entered still echoed with his essence. The subtle, pure fragrance of him hung in the air of the hallway. I found my fingers gliding over the counter, tracing the spot where his hand once rested, stopping for a moment to recall the intensity of being that near. Feeling young once more. Tormented by fleeting caresses that never came to fruition. One evening, Lauren's voice crackled through the phone, heavy with the weight of her delay after work. A bridal appointment or a fleeting errand. And I wondered if Daniel would still come by to help me hang the curtains in the guest room. I agreed before I even realized what I was doing. My hands trembled as I pushed the door open. His eyes widened in disbelief, yet not uneasy. His gaze pierced my face, searching for a secret I never intended to reveal. "Are you all right?" he inquired, that question once more. That voice haunting and familiar. I nodded, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. "Curtains," I uttered, my voice barely above a whisper. He trailed behind me step by step as I ascended the stairs. The guest room radiated warmth. Afternoon sun poured through the bare windows, casting a warm glow that felt almost alive. Warm and radiant. Dust motes danced in the air, delicate and haunting. I reached out, the curtain rod trembling in my grip, and our eyes locked for a fleeting moment that felt electric. His hand grazed against mine. We stood our ground, unwavering. He ascended the chair, stretching for the brackets with determination. I took a step back. Yet close enough. I observed the tension in his arms as he labored. I saw him grunt softly as the screw slipped away. He muttered curses, Yet a smile broke through as my laughter filled the air. "Hand me that screw," he demanded, his finger jabbing toward it. I extended my hand. He bent low. Our fingers brushed against each other. This time it's deliberate. The encounter was fleeting, yet it transformed everything. I gasped in silence. So did he. He hung the curtains, the silence heavy around him. Yet the room buzzed with chaos. My heart races. He breathed in deeply. The delicate fabric grazed his shirt, igniting a rush of emotions within him. The chair creaked ominously as he descended. He hesitated before passing me the drill. He lingered in silence, gripping it tightly, and then he spoke softly. "Robert, are we still all right?" I faced him. Why wouldn't we be? It's a question that lingers, heavy with unspoken possibilities. Silence hung heavy in the air as he remained unresponsive. They simply glanced my way. I felt both fragile and perilous, a captivating contradiction. Sleep eluded me that night. In the stillness of midnight, I crept barefoot to the kitchen. He reached for a glass in the cabinet, a simple act that felt heavy with unspoken weight. She stood by the window. The gentle, steady hiss of the sprinklers outside fills the air. My nightgown clung to me, a second skin, heavy with the weight of the night. Fragile, fragile. His arrival caught me completely off guard. Yet the knock didn't catch me off guard. Gentle, calculated. It's not pressing, only 2 swift taps. I stepped through the door, and there he stood, shrouded in shadows. A dark hoodie cloaks the figure. Fingers clenched tightly in his pockets. Hair in disarray, as if his fingers had danced through it endlessly, lost in the moment. "I was just passing through," he said. "I noticed your kitchen light was on." He never should have shown up. Yet I moved aside regardless. Silence enveloped us. I stood alone in the kitchen, the silence heavy around me, the very place where it all began. The air hung heavy, suffocating and charged with unspoken tension. "Silent. Sleep eluded him?" he inquired. I shook my head, disbelief coursing through me. "Neither do I." I saw his jaw clench tightly. He stood so near that I could feel the warmth of his breath. Shallow, superficial, just like mine. I grasped my glass of water, a simple act that felt heavy with unspoken weight. He seized it before I even had a chance, extended it towards me. Our fingers brushed once more. I stood my ground. He didn't either. He thrust the glass into my hands. His hand dropped beside mine on the counter. Our arms brushed against each other, skin against skin. The tension between us was electric. Yet we remained frozen in place. "I have to leave," he murmured. Yet they stood firm. I nodded, feeling the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Understood. We stood frozen, caught in a moment that felt endless. His gaze fell, not against my heart, not in a harsh manner. Yet the fragile strap of my nightgown clings perilously, on the brink of slipping away. He witnessed it. He caught sight of it, and I knew he did. Yet silence lingers, only breath remains. And fire. That gentle, lingering heat that precedes giving in. "I don't want to complicate things," he said. I nearly burst into laughter. "You've done it already." His jaw tightened. "I regret it deeply." Refrained from doing so. The words spilled out in a rush. "Excessive truth. This is a mystery to me." I breathed softly. He gulped. "Neither do I." And then I spoke the words. Yet in the silence it feels strangely right. His gaze lingered on me, filled with an unspoken desire for a kiss, not to defeat me. Yet I must reveal a truth. It felt as though he was probing my expression, seeking my consent, in the face of fear. I longed for this just as much. My heart raced, pounding against my throat, within my wrists, within my thighs. He leaned in closer. His lips lingered just above mine, a breath away from connection. His breath lingered, warm and inviting, infused with a hint of mint and something profound. His hand brushed against my waist. Not a hold. This isn't a request. A mere brush of skin, electric and haunting. "Do you really want me to stop?" he inquired, voice unfiltered. I remained silent. I grasped his hoodie tightly, just a whisper. Perfectly sufficient. His chest heaved beneath my hand. He hesitated, then withdrew. "I can't," he whispered, his voice trembling. Voice trembling on the edge of breaking, nowhere to be found. "This isn't how it should be." The room remained unchanged, yet I did. It was the thrill of his refusal that drew me in deeper. For pausing, in honor of the very thing we both sought to obliterate, he took a hesitant step back. As if breaking free from the pull of the earth, he raked his fingers through his hair, a storm brewing inside him. He shook his head, a silent storm brewing within. "I need to leave now." This time I surrendered. He pressed on, never glancing back. I pressed against the sink's edge, fingers quaking. The kitchen light pierced through the darkness, overwhelming and harsh. My breath remained unsteady, my chest throbbed with pain. Not from the events that unfolded. Yet it nearly happened. The following day, I wore a mask of normalcy, concealing the turmoil within. Yet everything had changed. The toast turned to ashes in the heat of my failure. Let the mail fall. I missed calling my sister back. Every detail was now colored by that moment, the almost connection, the moment before lips touch. His voice cracked as he uttered those words, a painful admission that he couldn't. That night, Lauren gathered us all for dinner, a moment charged with unspoken tension. My husband sat next to me, a silent presence that spoke volumes. Frustration boiling over in the chaos of traffic. Daniel sat there, a storm brewing in his eyes. Not a single glance was exchanged between us. Yet I sensed his gaze upon me. I felt every subtle movement he made in his seat. With each sharp exhale, tension hung in the air. Each scrape of his fork against the plate echoed in the silence. I glimpsed his reflection once. Behind Lauren, the kitchen window framed a world of unspoken tension. In that moment our eyes met, a silent storm brewing between us, in the blink of an eye. Yet it was sufficient. After dinner, Lauren thrust a stack of dishes into his hands. "Please help my mom clean up." He paused, uncertainty gripping him. Then a smile broke through. The kitchen was undeniably small, confined, the kind where a single misstep leads to a collision of bodies. We flowed together, each step a heartbeat, a silent connection that spoke volumes, deliberate, practiced, restrained. He washed away the remnants. I withered. Silence enveloped us, until our fingers brushed while I reached for a dish. Only once. He stood still, heart racing. I stood still. "You're breaking me apart," he murmured softly, his voice barely escaping his lips. I faced it head on. I passed him another plate. He clung to it, time slipping away. "You haunt my dreams," he whispered softly, refusing to meet my gaze. The dish towel fell from my grasp. He snatched it from the air. Silently it was returned, the weight of unspoken emotions hanging in the air. The silence screamed, "The dishes are done," as if it never occurred. His presence loomed behind me as I reached for the cupboard. So near, overheated, revealed it all. That night I lay in bed, consumed by pain, for him always, for what we nearly achieved, for all that remained undone but awaited us, because a fracture had formed between us, not with fire, yet held back. At times, the agony of waiting eclipses the pain of the act itself. A storm brews on the horizon. The sky tears apart in the stillness of the night. The rain lashes against the windows. The wind shakes the branches, echoing like the sound of bones clattering. I lie wide awake, gazing at the ceiling, lost in thought. The air crackled with tension. My husband breathed softly beside me, a gentle reminder of his presence. One arm sprawled across the bed, heavy and lifeless. I struggle for air. I slip away, barely making a sound. Feet touch the cold wood floor. Nightgown wrapped tightly against my skin. The hallway stretches endlessly tonight, as if the very atmosphere is suspended in anticipation. I step into the kitchen. The house is shrouded in shadows, pierced only by the cold glow of the under-cabinet light. Gentle, radiant, as soft as a breath. My hands tremble as I fill the glass with water. And then I hear it. A sudden knock. It's not pressing. Right there. I am paralyzed. Another knock echoed through the silence. Just a heartbeat away. I sense his presence before my hand touches the doorknob. As I unveil it, he's drenched. The hoodie clung tightly to his chest. Hair cascaded into his eyes, blurring his vision. His lips parted as if each breath was a struggle. The car lost control, sliding dangerously close to the curve. He speaks. I felt a deep unease about driving any further. I nod, feeling the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. I never questioned why he picked my door. It wasn't Lauren's. Far from a motel. Mine. He enters. Water pools beneath his feet. I reach for a towel, my hand trembling as I pass it to him. His fingers brush against mine. My breath catches. I don't belong here. He speaks. I understand. We remain frozen in place. The storm wails in the darkness. Once more, the windows tremble violently. The wind wails, echoing a deep, haunting sorrow. Within these walls, silence reigns. But barely. He strips away his hoodie. Below the surface, he wears nothing but a thin t-shirt, completely drenched. I can make out his form. The firm contours of his chest, the gash in his abdomen, the subtle rise and fall of his breath. I'll find you something dry. I breathe softly. He nods, a silent agreement hanging heavy in the air. I ascend the stairs. My heartbeat roars, drowning out the thunder. I snatch a spare shirt from the hallway closet, one belonging to my husband, yet the words remain unspoken. When I return, he remains there unmoving. He gazes at me, as if I'm a hidden truth he can no longer hide. I extend the shirt, my heart racing. He accepts it, yet it remains untouched for now. He says otherwise. Robert, if I transform, I promise to stay. My heart races. He lingers. I feel the same way. And then I speak the words. Then just don't. He lets the towel fall away. He tears off his t-shirt. I can't help but turn away, love. Yet I truly do. His skin glistens with moisture, ember-like. His chest heaves, a desperate attempt to find balance. He moves in, heart racing. The shirt I gave him dangles from his hand, a reminder of what once was. We're so close, just inches away. Silence envelopes us, heavy and unyielding. His hand lifts, brushes against my cheek, pauses. I lean in closer. That's everything he craves. His lips crash against mine, fiery, shaking. Initially calm, as if each movement seeks approval, lingering in uncertainty. Then further down. Then ravenous. My back slams against the wall as his body collides with mine. His hands glide over my waist, igniting a fire within me. My hips ache with a longing that can't be ignored, as if charting a holy terrain. My fingers brush against the hem of his shirt, clutched tightly in his grasp, and it falls to the ground. His lips brush against my neck. My collarbone aches. His breath trembles on my skin. Please just tell me to stop, he whispers, his voice trembling. I must. I inhale deeply. But you won't, he whispers, his voice trembling. Absolutely not. His lips find mine once more. But take your time now. As if he understands this is irreversible, his fingers brush against the strap of my nightgown, igniting a spark of tension. Fingertips brush against the tender curve of my shoulder. My breath halts, a weight pressing against my chest, not from disbelief, yet acknowledgement. This is something deeper. This is something from the past, more profound. Like two souls recalling a secret they were never meant to uncover. I breathe his name softly, only once. He stands still, caught in a moment of sheer shock. Our foreheads touch, a fragile connection that ignites a storm of emotions. His breath, hitched, fiery and unpredictable, blends with my essence. We tremble together, not out of fear, Yet, beneath the burden of our actions, "I don't want to hurt you," he repeats, his voice trembling with urgency. Voice like scorched gravel. I whisper, "You're not. You're the only thing that remains unchanged." The nightgown falls away. He avoids eye contact. He worships. His gaze is not consuming, it's suffocating. As if he could ever be ready for the truth of who I am hidden beneath that quiet facade. His fingers graze my ribs, igniting a spark within, not my heart. The gentle curve whispers secrets of beauty. Where his hand rests, binding us together, his thumb moves in tight, anxious circles. Unhurried, calm. A sound escapes me, unfamiliar and haunting. Breath caught, a moment of yielding. In that moment, I stretch out my hand toward him. My fingers trace the contours of his back, each touch igniting a fire within. The curve of his waist, the weight of his presence against me. He radiates warmth. It feels like a gentle embrace. Every fiber of my being longs to dissolve into that warmth. Our lips collide once more. The kiss intensifies. My nails dig gently into his skin. He quakes, fighting to contain the storm within. Yet he stays. He raises me just enough to pin me to the wall. Gentle yet fiercely safeguarding. His arms enveloped me like a cocoon. My knees tremble. Yet he grounds me. His presence envelopes me as he draws nearer. The undeniable evidence of our connection. My breath catches. My body tightens, overwhelmed by the sudden jolt. He hesitates. Gaze into my eyes. Is it too much? He gasps, breathless. I respond in silence. I yank him closer. A pulse emerges. Unhurried, yet filled with a haunting urgency. Every motion brimming with suspense. Every sound a whisper of fate. The sharp echo of a heel striking the ground. The wood creaked ominously. The breath catches as our bodies collide. Transcends into the divine. Our words are few. All words have faded away. Our bodies reveal everything. I clutch him closer, my arms tightening around his shoulders. His fingers weave through my hair, gripping tightly. We both halt, caught in a moment that feels eternal, consumed. And I breathe a whisper. Once more, he lets out a quiet groan. Delves further. Take your time. My legs tremble. My heart races. I can't keep it in any longer. I can't bring myself to do it. The sounds I produce are foreign to the woman I've been for the past 2 decades. They are meant for someone much younger, unbound. A presence I believed was lost forever. Yet she was always there. She lingered, yearning to be recalled. His hand glides over my lower back, holding me steady as I spiral away. Keep going, I urge softly. He simply doesn't. Not until my body envelopes the warmth of him. The guilt grips my throat, stealing my breath away. We fall into each other. He embraces me tightly, not with desire. Yet something even more terrifying loomed. Delicate warmth. Silence hangs between us. His fingers glide through my hair. His heart races against mine. Our skin glistens, slick with sweat and the electric touch of stormlight. The nightgown twisted tightly around my thighs. His shirt lay abandoned on the floor. We linger there until the wind outside starts to calm. The world trembles once more. Gradually, regret slinks in, a haunting presence lurking in the dim light. Yet neither of us dares to move. What we just experienced went beyond the physical realm. It was a single tear. Fracture. A decision that could change everything. He presses his lips to my forehead. A fleeting moment that lingers in the air. Gentle, respectful and filled with awe. He whispers, I can't forgive myself. So I reply, then don't. Hold on to this. He nods, a silent agreement heavy with unspoken weight. I adjust my nightgown, feeling the weight of the night pressing in around me. He slips into the shirt, a moment heavy with unspoken weight. We part without a kiss. It would bring it to life. We separate without a word. The weight of unspoken feelings hanging heavy in the air. A silence that wounds deeper, leaving scars unhealed. Only shadows linger. I step back into the bedroom, in the place where my husband still dreams. I slip back under the covers. My legs tremble uncontrollably. My lips are still alive with sensation. My body aches in spots I believed were long forgotten. The ceiling looms above me, a silent witness to my thoughts, eyes wide open, heart shattered. I never thought I would go this far, yet I find no room for regret. For the first time in years, I truly felt alive. The morning after, I averted my gaze from the mirror, unable to face the reflection staring back at me. Not entirely. I washed my face, my gaze fixed on the ground, brushed my teeth as if my hands belonged to someone else, distant and unfamiliar. The reflection before me felt foreign, an unsettling reminder of a life I no longer recognized. Not quite. I faced a part of myself that felt utterly unforgivable. The night seeped deep into my very being. His hands lingered in my memory. A deep ache coursed through my body, awakening forgotten pains I thought had long faded away. Yet it wasn't pain. It was a haunting echo of the past. His lips brushed against my shoulder. He went still, caught in the moment as my whisper lingered in the air. The weight of his desire. His presence pressed heavily against the door, and even more haunting, the warmth that follows. He embraced me tightly. He lingered, caught in a moment that held him back. His silence echoed. He lingered, haunting the edges of memory. That's what deepened the struggle. In that instant, it felt undeniably right. It felt like the raw essence of truth. Now it felt like a deep aching wound. The silence of the house was deafening. My husband slipped away before dawn, leaving the silence heavy in the air. As I stood at the sink, he pressed his lips gently to the crown of my head. As I gazed out the window, a jolt of fear shot through me. Only a whisper. He remained oblivious. Perhaps he knew, or maybe Funkenteist did, yet chose silence instead of inquiry. The plate shattered on the floor. It shattered. I gazed at it, lost in thought, before finally gathering the pieces. Every sound pierced through the silence, echoing in my mind. Every shadowed corner of the house, tainted. I stepped into the kitchen, my heart racing as I caught sight of the place where Daniel had first touched me. I brushed against the wall, the cold surface pressing into my back, a reminder of the weight I carried. I opened the linen drawer, and there it was, the shirt I had given him, still folded neatly on top, a haunting reminder of what once was. He brought it back. I was caught off guard by his sudden arrival. I didn't hear him go. He folded it carefully, leaving behind only silence. I should have been thankful. Instead, I felt empty inside, as if he had taken something precious and returned it with trembling hands, heart racing. But not at all. It was never about the shirt he returned. Distance loomed, leaving me lost and unsure of how to navigate its weight. That night, Lauren arrived for dinner. Her radiance was undeniable, discussing the moments that will define forever. Vibrant hues await, dreamy honeymoon inspirations. I nodded, my voice barely a whisper, my smile devoid of warmth. She wondered if Daniel would show up. I claimed I hadn't laid eyes on him. It was a deception. He arrived after everyone else. He claimed he had to work. He pressed his lips to her cheek. They sat across from me, as if the world had not shifted beneath our feet. Air escaped me. Each time her fingers brushed against his arm, I turned my gaze elsewhere. Each laugh echoed the intimate sound that lingered between us. Each time his gaze lifted, my heart raced with fear. Terrified they would fall onto my path. Terrified they might not. The fork clattered to the floor. It crashed against the plate. "Are you all right, Mom?" Lauren inquired. I nodded, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Daniel remained silent. As we cleared the table, I passed him a stack of bowls, the weight of the moment hanging between us. Our fingers brushed against each other. He recoiled. I did too. But not from remorse, born from desire. That was the most painful moment. The shame only intensified the longing. They existed in close proximity, struggling, scratching, winding tightly around my throat, like a suffocating fog. He assisted Lauren in loading her car. A moment charged with unspoken emotions. I stood at the window, my heart racing as I watched, concealed in the shadows, trembling with fear. She wrapped her arms around him tightly. Just one kiss. His smile was electric. He faced the house, a weight in the air thick with unspoken words. In that fleeting moment our gazes locked. I swear I saw it. The ache within him mirrored my own. Days slipped by in disjointed moments. I glided among them, unseen and haunting. Here yet untethered. I ruined dinner not once but twice. I walked away, the dryer humming emptily, a hollow sound echoing in the silence. I lingered in the shower for 20 long minutes, unaware that the water had turned cold. Each time my phone glowed, a wave of anxiety washed over me. Yet it was never him. He never called, no message sent, no note left in the usual spots. The way he would say, "Thanks, Robert." Robert's pencil flew across the workbench, or stuck to a bag of trash he had just tossed out. He fell silent. That silence screamed louder than any confession ever could. I convinced myself that gratitude was mine to hold. It was clear he grasped the depth of it all, that we could find our way back to what once was. Imagine it was just one night. A moment lost, a tempest bruise, a fleeting instant drenched in solitude. Yet I couldn't accept that truth. I doubt he did as well. That Thursday I caught sight of his car. Stationed just down the street. Not here, not now. So near, yet distant enough to feel the weight of longing as I gaze at the guest bedroom window. He lingered in silence for 15 long minutes. Silence falls. Darkness descends. And just like that he was gone. He never answered the door. He just walked in. Just experienced. I lingered in the shadows of the curtain. Stilled in time. Should I wave? The thought lingers, heavy with uncertainty. Unlock the door. Step outside, bare feet on the cool ground, robe billowing, and draw him into the shadows. Instead, I remained frozen in place. Inhale. Exhale. Trembling. Desire. 7 days slipped away. Then there were 2. Lauren mentioned they needed time apart to find their breath before the wedding. She uttered it with a nonchalance that cut deep, as if the air between us remained untouched. She revealed that Daniel had to confront some deep personal issues. I needed to know what she meant. I couldn't. I had known all along. He kept it from her. Yet he had distanced himself. It's all my fault, due to our actions. Perhaps he still held her in such high regard that he could no longer pretend, and that shattered me deeper than guilt ever could. His integrity remained unshaken, even after everything we faced. I needed it desperately, insatiable, desperate longing. It lingered, refusing to fade. I believed the shame would suffocate it, yet it never did. The guilt only fueled its fire. I felt every moment surge back to life, the gentle whisper of his breath, the noise he emitted as I inhaled sharply. My body curved toward his, as if it recognized him instinctively, returned with a newfound edge. Even more perilous, irresistibly captivating. One night as I lay beside my husband, the memories flooded back, haunting and vivid. He lay there, lost in a deep rumbling slumber. I had my back turned, and the pain consumed me. I slid my hand beneath the sheet. To forget my husband is unthinkable, yet to hold on to the memory of Daniel. And then I wept. Not because I sought my own pleasure, yet I remained nameless as I whispered into the void. I was lost in a haze, unsure if I was grieving for the girl I once was, or the woman I had just transformed into. What would you say if your daughter turned to you with that question, and you couldn't spin your tale quickly enough? Share your thoughts below. Make sure to subscribe for the next confession. You won't want to miss it. The following morning, Lauren's call pierced through the silence. Her voice carried a new weight. Shielded. I saw Daniel last night, she whispered, her voice trembling. He's gone. Silence. I remained silent. I sense there's more to this, she said, her voice trembling. He claims it's merely stress. Yet I understand him deeply. I took a deep breath. Perhaps it's the weight of wedding expectations. She hesitated. In that moment, "Mother, do you have something to share with me?" I stood still, heart racing. The silence hung heavy, crackling with unspoken tension. "What do you mean?" I pressed, my heart racing. In an instant, silence. A void that echoes with unspoken words. I've noticed the way he gazes at you. Those fleeting moments filled with unspoken feelings. My stomach plummeted. I let out a faint, strained laugh. "Lauren." But she severed the connection. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm seeking clarity. In that moment, I unleashed the harshest words I've ever spoken. "Perhaps it's all just a reflection of your own feelings. He adores you." It succeeded. She hesitated, her heart racing. "I'm sorry." She claimed it was merely anxiety. Yet it echoed in my mind, relentless. She caught a glimpse of something. Once it's seen, even for a moment, it lingers forever. I ended the call, my gaze fixed on the phone gripped tightly in my hand. My heart pounded fiercely in my ears. Now this had become something far more profound. A secret ticking away with urgency. If your daughter suggested she knew about your affair with her fiancé, would you confess to shield her from the truth? Or deceive to shield your own heart? A week after Lauren's call, she appeared at my door without warning. The dawn had just begun to break. Just past 9 a.m. I hadn't even had my coffee yet. I opened the door, clad only in my robe. Her expression held a mystery, cloaked in silence, neither furious nor welcoming, simply seeking. "I brought pastries," she declared, lifting a box as if it were a truce. I welcomed her inside. She set the box on the kitchen counter, her back pressed against the sink, tension hanging in the air. The very spot where I had gripped the edge that night, quaking. I questioned whether she felt it too. Places hold memories. Silence enveloped us as we ate. Just a half of a croissant for each of us. Countless stares. At last, the words escaped her lips. I ended the engagement. I stopped, the food suspended in the air. "What is happening?" Her head dipped in agreement. Felt wrong. Not entirely. Something stirred within, silenced. I scanned her face, seeking blame. It was empty. Just agony. "Did he?" I began. She shook her head, a silent storm brewing within her. "No, that's not it." My throat felt parched. "He's a good man," she insisted, her voice trembling with urgency. "He never caused me pain." Then gentler. "He simply." They turned away from me. "No, not at all. Not completely." I clenched the coffee mug with all my strength. "Did he really say that?" Her gaze fell to her lap. "Absolutely not." Yet I sensed it deeply. Tears threatened to spill. Not from a sense of guilt, not just yet. Yet it was the softness of her words that struck deep. As if she had been rehearsing the art of release, one fragment at a time. This was the final piece. Her gaze met mine in that moment. Eyes wide open, exhausted. "I fear his heart belongs to another." I locked eyes with her. I stood frozen, unblinking. Then she posed the question that almost broke me apart. Is it possible for people to fall for the wrong person? Deliberately, I gasped for words. "It's done." Then I spoke the one truth I had. Sometimes love ignites between those who truly see each other. Her head dipped in agreement. In a heartbeat of sheer dread, I believed she understood. I believed she witnessed it all. In that moment, she reached across the table, her fingers brushing against mine. "Thank you, Mom." I clutched her fingers as if they were my final link to the person I once was. Perhaps they truly were. She departed almost immediately. Silence reigns. No collapse, only a silent departure. As if she were leaving behind a life she had lost faith in. There I was, frozen at the sink, cradling her coffee cup. It lingers, a fading heat that tugs at the heart. Still heavy, yet to be discovered. It was a night like no other. I dreamt of Daniel. 3 days after Lauren walked away from the engagement, I discovered Daniel sitting on the porch. The hour was late, almost the witching hour. As I switched off the hallway light, a shadow flickered through the glass, sending a chill down my spine. My heart froze. I creaked the door open, heart racing. He remained rooted in the spot where the storm had unleashed its fury that night. Hoodie pulled tight, fingers clenched tightly in his pockets. Gaze cast downward. This time the skies remain dry. The oppressive summer heat envelopes us, a heavy silence hanging in the air. I wasn't sure if I should be here, he admitted. You never should have done that. I understand. Stillness. In that moment I moved aside. He slipped in, silent as a shadow. I didn't question his presence. I chose not to inquire about what transpired between him and Lauren. We both felt it deep down. Some things are better left unsaid. I guided him into the living room. We stood, hearts racing, frozen in place. So close yet worlds away, as if any motion would only deepen the struggle. He seemed aged beyond his years. Exhausted, devastated. I tried to forget, he whispered. It was a night like no other. Yet I found myself unable to. My throat constricted. I understand. He moved in, heart racing. It was more than just the physical, he insisted, voice trembling. Your gaze pierced through me, as if I never experienced childhood, as if I truly mattered. You did it. His gaze pierced through me, as if I were the last anchor in a world gone adrift. I can't bear to break you, he whispered. Your life is yours to live. A union. I released a barely audible sigh. My marriage was over long before you arrived. The silence between us became a piercing edge. His hand shot up. To linger but never to grasp. To feel the sting of longing, yearning. As if he were pleading once more. I stood still. I was lost, unsure of my desires. I had already gone too far. The question now was whether I could return. It was as if I could ever desire to. He recoiled. I didn't come here to reignite anything, he said. I've come to bid farewell. My heart sank. Not that I was caught off guard, yet I did. Still stung. Are you making the right choice? I inquired, voice trembling just above a whisper. He averted his gaze. I'm torn, struggling to walk away while holding on to the piece of me that still